Parenting teens can be challenging at the best of times. Throw in a stress-inducing global pandemic, and it's downright overwhelming. That's why I'm so excited to welcome Aly Pain to What She Said for a regular segment that will be offering parents and teens a way to connect and get through this moment stronger than ever. Welcome to the show, Aly.
Thank you. I'm so glad to be here.
I'm so excited to have you. So I found you via TikTok when one of your videos went viral. But for those listening, share with me why you are uniquely qualified to help parents and teens. And I really just want to stress here for a second that you're here to help both sides. You're not here to take sides.
Absolutely. So well said. Thank you. So I am a retired teenager. And I came from a home with a great deal of pain and dysfunction. Not because my parents are terrible people. I was just literally, if there was like a stereotypical black sheep, that was me. And it created a ton of strife for all of us. And it's taken me years to be in a place where I can say that I'm healed and that I can look forward and help other families. I also went back to school and took my life coaching certification, relationship coaching certification, have been working with relationships, helping them move through dysfunction for 14 years now. And so you're right, I can advocate for teens because I remember what it was like to be that teen. And I remember what I so wanted to hear and wanted to happen. And I'm a parent of 2 teenage boys. So I'm putting my experience on both sides. If anything, I would say I stand for the relationship.
That's a great way of putting it. So, and you and I have discussed sort of, not on the radio, but about how this moment in time is quite unique and really is very stressful.
Yes.
So let's dive into back to school right now, because I think that is what most parents and teens are going to be struggling with right now, is that back to school. So how do we best deal with this so that we're not at each other's throats all the time?
Yeah, I think this is a really emotionally heightened state for a lot of teenagers. And let me explain that. Their world has turned upside down. And again, I'm not saying parents hasn't, but parents have a bit more context of life to put on that. Teenagers do not. Their world as they knew it does not exist. And the fact that they don't know how much longer this is going to go on is anxiety provoking. It can induce situational depression and schooling on top of that, whether they've gone back to school in person or they are schooling from home, it's still not normal. It's not the way it was. And so as parents, I think the most critical thing that we can do is be in conversation with our children. And let me be clear about what that looks like. It does not look like an interrogation on the daily of, well, how do you feel? Well, how do you feel? Tell me how you're feeling. Why are you? It's not that. It's not that. I know they're hiding in their rooms. I know they're spending too much time on tech. I know they're out of sorts. So it doesn't do any good to interrogate. What helps is the invitation to say how you are feeling first. I feel so sad. I can't see my friends. I'm finding it hard working from home. I miss going to the office, or I'm so tired of another Zoom meeting. I can't imagine how you feel with all the Zoom education. You got to reach out and you got to meet your children in the middle by starting the conversation and modeling. This is what it looks like to share what's true for me. What does it look like to be true for you? And number 2, do not solve your teenager. Stop trying to solve them, because unless you can solve this whole pandemic, you're not solving them. So when you're asking them, I need you to be less concerned about their answer and more concerned about their engagement in the conversation, because you cannot fix this. The anxiety and depression will be alleviated through a lot more conversation of expressing themselves. But this whole back to school thing is another part of the conversation, because what do their grades look like?
Well, I think that's where, the struggle comes in, is that parents are still falling back on the old fallback of, you need to have grades, you need to get into university, you need to hit these milestones that a year ago were very much in place. And now it seems like the milestones have fallen off. So I think parents are grappling with a little bit of, worry that their children are going to fall behind, that their mental health is suffering.
Yes.
And so it's not, maybe not just, maybe it's not trying to solve them, but maybe it's trying to make sure that they don't fall into a pit maybe of despair.
Absolutely.
How do we keep them motivated
Yes.
without solving them?
Right. And I love your point, because we as parents can be a little bit too contextualizing because of our experience in life. And we have this non-global pandemic set of expectations, right? And we're like, yeah, there's a pandemic, but Johnny, you still need to, like, you still got to get these grades. And it's not, it doesn't work anymore right now. I think that we as parents need to loosen up a little bit of our expectations for our child, because they are doing life in a way that they certainly wouldn't have chosen. Maybe for the introverts, I honor that some of them are introverts and they'll love this, and some of them are extroverts and they hate it. But we have to be careful of our expectations. And the motivation, I think, is about letting them know that even through this, even with schooling looking differently, they can still succeed. We're just going to make it up as we go. We're going to talk about it. We're going to see, what does success look like, particularly sporting kids who can't play sports. Well, gee, I don't know what you're looking for if you're going for a scholarship then. What does it look like if you're trying to go into engineering, but you can't do projects? Like, we have to be in conversation with what's important to them and what feels like it's missing, because they're in like a stuck phase of grieving. And if we don't get into the muck with them in that conversation, we can't help motivate them. You can't get motivated when you're stuck in grief. So we've got to help get them through that and normalize it and validate them, so that then we can talk to them about what kind of school goals could we have this year? What will it look like if you're working from home or you're going to school? And involve them in that, instead of trying to place our non-pandemic expectations on them, which isn't real.
Okay, excellent. Well, we're going to be getting into this conversation deep over the next few weeks, but I do want to point parents who are listening to a group you have on Facebook that I think is very helpful. So if you just want to maybe share that with them right now, and we'll
Absolutely.
put it up on the video.
For sure. In response to just the incredible outcry at the whole start of this, as well as parenting being hard as it is, I created a private group. It's called Finding Our Way. You can check it out at alypain.com/finding our way, and or it's a learn more button off my Facebook page, which we'll put the link to. So
okay, wonderful. We'll share that on social. Thanks so much, Aly. I look forward to seeing you again in a couple of weeks.
You bet. You too.